Okay, so what we're going to need for these rusks is 500 grams of self-raising flour, 180 grams of butter, and 150 grams of sugar. You're also going to need 1 egg and 2 Weet-Bix pieces of Weet-Bix, and then on the far side over there we have, in this little bowl here, we have 1 teaspoon of sesame seeds and half a teaspoon of somf. You'll also need a half a teaspoon of salt, and you will need a teaspoon of baking powder. You will also need, for the wet ingredients, you will need oil at 120 ml of oil and 250 ml of mass, full cream mass, and that is mixed together with the oil and the egg. Alright, so let's get to it. So first of all, we're going to crush the Weet-Bix, mix it with the flour, the self-raising flour. That's 2 Weet-Bix pieces into 500 grams of flour, self-raising flour. We're also going to put into that the sugar, the sesame seeds and the somf, and we're going to put in half a teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Right. Into that we are going to chop these. This is not actually butter. The recipe calls for butter, but I've used margarine and it's just as good. We chop it up into little squares and then we rub it into this mixture to form a crumbly kind of texture. Right, so let's chop up this margarine, and we'll get back to it. This is where it gets a little messy. You got to get your hands dirty, or full of food, put it that way. And but it's quite therapeutic. As you can see, I'm mixing the sugar, the butter with the margarine into this mix here, and as it begins to combine with the flour and all the other ingredients, it begins to take on this yellowish crumbly texture. So we carry on doing this until all is combined, and then we'll go to the next step. So as you can see, I've now mixed the marge and the flour, and it's given it a nice yellowish crumbly texture. And if you take it like that, it actually clumps together, but then it just unravels again. Alright, so now the next step is to mix the wet ingredients with the dry. That is what we're going to do now. Put that aside there and bring in the wet ingredients. As you can see, I have already put the mass, the oil, and the egg inside this little jug. I'm now going to blend the lot. Right, I think that should do it. That should do it. Okay, next step. Put it into the mix. So your wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. And now you can begin to combine the lot. Once you've done that, you're going to put it into your oven for 45 minutes at 180 degrees temperature, 180 degrees Celsius, and bake it for 45 minutes. Right, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. Right, make sure that your ingredients are thoroughly combined before you put it into the baking dish. As you can see, there's no dry flour or anything in here. It's now thoroughly mixed. Now the next step is to put it into this container. No need to grease or anything of that nature. You've got enough oil and lubricant in this mix. So we just put it straight into the pan, and you know what they say, waste not, want not. So we take everything out as much as possible. There you go. Now, time to get mucky again, but don't worry, it doesn't really stick to your hands because of, you know, the oil and the marge and stuff. It's not that bad. It just looks like it, but it's not that bad. Try and get it as evenly, as flat and as evenly as possible, and once you've done that, we can then put it into the oven. As soon as that oven is ready, still busy getting up to temperature at the moment, but it'll soon be ready, and then we can put it in. I just want to spread this out a little bit more so that it's a bit more even. Like that. You'll see when this comes out, it's going to be absolutely delicious. This is a nice mix. Looks nice, feels nice, and I think it's going to be great. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. And when the oven is ready, stick it in 45 minutes. Okay, it's time to go into the oven. "45 minutes. Right, so this is the result of the finished product. The rusks can be they can be cut into various sizes depending on what your preference. But after they come out the oven, let them cool down, or let it cool down on a cooling rack. And then once it's nice and cool, you can tip it out and then slice it into various sizes depending on your preference. And that's it. Andre's Rusks.